also at the end of the day, it's a fucking vampire movie. Like, it's amazing. So
Did she say fucking
She did. I mean, you really got the movie. We love this.
Miles, obviously, you know, music is such a huge part of your life, and your role in Sinners really showcased that to the next level. It was incredible. Your performance was just amazing. And what Ryan does with music in the story of Sinners is so interesting. What was your like reaction to that, the way that he weaves that into the narrative?
I think it was beautifully done. Prior to filming, he sent me like a blues playlist, and that kind of allowed me to listen to different artists and kind of brush up on my history about the blues. So, you know, the blues is all about feeling and about telling a story. So I think it was perfect the way he incorporated that into the film, and specifically into my character, you know, who's big on music. That's kind of the thing that motivates him throughout the film. So to see how that plays out is pretty cool.
I'd love to know, what was your favorite experience on set with Sinners?
I'm not being flipped, the whole thing. I don't have a, really, no, I don't have a favorite. You know what, I do, actually. And unfortunately, it's the same that's not in the audiences will not. It's just my character, Delta Slim, entertaining the people in the juke joint. And I was singing an original song that Ryan wrote. I had a great time doing it. It was hard. You know, I'd never sung on camera like that before. What made it special for me, it was so it was so much me. It was so much Delta Slim. Delta Slim in his element, in my element. That was a favorite.
I loved how seamlessly Ryan introduced my character and how she went from one grocery store to another. And it was a very subtle, not in your face way of telling you how segregated the world was during that time.
And your position in relationship to that, right.
I like it all. Really, one of my favorite moments was maybe the last day, because what happened was we shot a long day the last day, and afterwards the editors had put together a quick 8 to 10 minutes of rough footage that we had been shooting. And I mean, everybody's knees and backs and hips were hurting, and everyone would have stood there and watched the whole 2-hour movie if they'd have ran it. It was a really powerful thing to see this group come together.
There's been some discussion in the past about, you know, how much personal narrative that filmmakers weave into their movies, and whether or not it might like hinder an audience to connect to that particular story, which I personally think is a bit bullshit, but don't let that sway your answer. Michael, I just wanted to, I guess, ask you what you thought in the way, because Ryan obviously puts so much personal into his movies. But what do you think, I guess, of people who might say, is it trickier for people to connect, or, you know, not that at all?
Sometimes, you know, the universal comes from the specific. You know what I'm saying? I think the more specific you get, the better, especially from a filmmaker's perspective. You're making a movie about something you have no perspective and no personal connection to. I mean, you know, I can't see how that could be a great thing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, with Ryan specifically, a lot of his movies, you know, it comes from a personal place as a writer-director. You know what I'm saying? He needs to feel it. He needs to, you know, have some type of connection to it in some type of way. And I think he's been doing pretty good, you know what I'm saying, thus far. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it, you know, personally.
I loved the role that music played as like a real driving force in the narrative. Why do you think it worked so well in Sinners and with this whole kind of universe that Ryan has set up?
Because on some level, the music is the foundation for this whole community. The music is not only is the music the foundation for this whole community, but by extension, the music is the foundation for this country. Blues music, foundational to this culture. And that, I believe, is part of what Ryan is saying, but without proselytizing, right? He's not banging people over the head subtly, as you say, with the scene with you walking from one store to the other. He's doing these things subtly, but I think part of the narrative has to do with presenting how foundational blues music is to this culture and then the world.
Mm-hmm. And the way he uses like the genre of horror is so cool. I think it's amazing. Were you guys like fans of Ryan or Michael's work before Sinners? And what was it like to work together?
1 second before we go on to that, respond to the horror thing. The use of the
you did it. You honestly.
No, you please.
No, so I don't really feel like. I think that he said in another interview, which is great. The horror is really a device to speak about all these other fundamental questions about society and community in the film. But I pray that horror fans are also satisfied because there's plenty of gore and guts and blood. But
yeah.
you said something that I wanted to give you kudos on because you said it. The horror film is used basically, I think you just said as a bridge to get to these other points. And that's exactly what it is. It's beautiful.
Fair enough.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
That was my favorite thing about it. It wasn't, obviously there's so much political and cultural richness to the story, but like also at the end of the day, it's a fucking vampire movie. Like it's amazing. So
Did you say
She
fucking
did. I mean, you really got the movie. We love this.
thank you.
Beat yourself. Usually you got to beat the actors. You got to beat yourself.
I'll beat for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big vampire movie.
Is there anything else you'd love to say, or anything you want fans to take away from this movie?
I want to say God bless you for getting the story. God bless you for the fact that it resonated in the way that it did for you. Beep. And all.
Yeah, exactly. Go see Sinners on the largest screen you can find.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because just like you said, it's a total body experience, and it really will stimulate many of your senses.
I think a little bit of everything. Yeah, I think you said it. It's not just one thing. It's not just a horror film. I think I want people to laugh. I want them to be scared and get emotional and be moved. By the music and the connection that you have with these characters. It's about love. So I want anybody that that wants to feel something. You know what I'm saying? To watch this movie and walk away feeling feeling emotional. Yeah.